York, New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from the Nick of Time Show, here giving you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And guess what? We are back, baby. We're back to talk about the up and coming Knicks season. Media Day has happened. Training camp is happening. And we're here to talk about it all. Also, there's some things that's happened that we did not get a chance to talk about when we were out. Gotta talk about Mikael Brogdon joining the Knicks, along with sharpshooter, our guy Shamet joining the Knicks, and we're gonna talk about it all. But before we talk about it, I'm gonna introduce you to my peoples. Okay, first and foremost, we starting off with the super chat. Shout out Michael Park. Shout out Michael Park with $10 super chat. Like the way we start. All right, starting off the show with the man, the myth, the legend, the guy with the stats and the facts.
Ryan G in the building. Glad to be here to talk about Knicks basketball media day. Let's go.
Let's go. Also, you already know Mr. NBA economy herself. My guy, Fritz Alessandro. What's going on, Fritz?
Hey, looking forward to the season. All right, I'm ready. I'm ready.
I'm ready. I'm really ready. I think it's gonna be our best season yet, and the best KOT season yet. Okay. Also, our guy, the Latin assassin, my man Lee Escobedo. What is good, Lee?
Let's do it, family. Great to be here. I'm ready to talk Knicks. It's going to be a big, bright season.
Hell yeah. Let's get into it, man. It's media day. It was media day yesterday. Training camp started already. And there are some things that we want to talk about before I even get into the Malcolm Brogdon, Landry Shamet things. And that is our new head coach, man. Our new head coach, Mike, he said a couple of interesting things, and I was sitting back watching, taking notes. And I want to get your thoughts on the things he was saying, because there's a few things that really, really stood out to me, and a lot of things that Knicks fans might be extremely happy to hear. And one of those things are Jalen Brunson playing off ball. All right, he's kind of made it a focus that he wants Jalen Brunson off the ball more. He wants him to get easy catch and shoot threes, and he also talked about how the Knicks have had practices already, voluntary practices already, and Jalen Brunson has embraced that. Now, some people kind of call him a ball hog sometimes. Maybe some people feel like that he wouldn't embrace it, but he said Jalen Brunson has embraced that, and he likes the way the team is going. Has that excited you guys as much as it excited me? We can start it off with Lee.
It's shocking how fast practice looked. And I know it's just kind of ceremonial. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean anything based on the videos that we saw. But I just can't remember seeing a practice from Thibs where guys were running sprints. He was a head coach for like 5 years, and I can't recall a single sprint video, which is crazy. I'm sure it happened, but without evidence, I can't get excited. And the product on the floor, we were always last in pace, always last in transition. So to have a coach day one speaking to the media, talking about pushing it and getting up and down the floor with Brunson as the head of a snake, and then also talking about Brunson being off ball more and running the offense through secondary creators. I'm guessing Cat's going to be a hub, similar to Sabonis. That's inevitable, I think. And Yabusele in Cleveland. It's very likely that we could be a top transition team. And if you looked at the roster, it suits it. Honestly, last year's roster, I thought suited too, with Cameron Payne and Delonte West. This one even more so. Jordan Clarkson, like Josh Hart, one-man transition, one-man fast break. But to have Malcolm Brogdon, I think you can play any style. And you have 48 minutes of high IQ floor leadership at the point guard position. That's something we have not been able to say under Thibs' entire tenure. There might have been a phase there with Brunson and Rose, but I felt like Brunson was still up and coming and Rose is on his way out. You have two guys right now that are essentially in the prime of their career, even though Brogdon's banged up, which means we can run and gun no matter what 5-man combination is on the floor. That opens up a lot of possibilities and a lot of momentum toward us being the best offense in the NBA.
I agree. You know, it's funny too. Like, I honestly feel like we might be a faster team with Brunson off the ball, because the one thing I will say is, as good as Brunson is, I do feel like he's more of a walk-up guard and not more of a guard who pushes. So I mean, I'm curious to see how that works out with the pace. Like, I feel like him and Luka, like both. I feel like Brunson is like comes from that Luka tree almost. So it's like I feel like it's not his first nature to push the ball. So I'm really curious to see how this translates. But also, you know what? I think it'll work out just because it's practice. I was kind of reading exit interviews from the Knicks squad, and one of the things they talked about is they don't really practice throughout the season. And I think a lot of that has to do with Thibs being criticized for overworking his players. So he started to like lay off the practices and do more in-game stuff. But Mike Brown's gonna make practice. That's one thing I've heard about Mike Brown. He runs practices, so he's not gonna just say we want to run, we want to have more pace. He's gonna practice that. While Thibs said he wanted more pace, there wasn't a lot of practices to say this is how I want you to do it. I'm gonna implement the pace through practices. So I feel like there might be more of a chance of that actually happening with Mike Brown here than when Thibs goes here.
Yeah, definitely. I actually think it's encouraging that he's going to implement Brunson off the ball more, because at times with Thibs, what would happen is that the offense would become stagnant in a way, because Brunson would hold on to the ball and nobody else would get involved. And then a lot of times I think that caused defense to kind of like, you're not really challenging the defense. The defense is just staying home on everybody, and Brunson is just pounding the rock. Like, yeah, Brunson is so unstoppable that he's able to get to a spot regardless and get and knocking the shot. But at the same time, it's like you're not really working the opposition.
Right.
So I think with Brunson off the ball, you give the team more of a chance to move the ball and, like you say, play with more pace. Make everybody get touches and everybody be more involved in the game, because this is something that's always been said. Like, players like when they're involved in games.
Yeah.
So if you can get more players like actually touching the ball and being involved in the game, that's going to have a positive effect on the team as a whole. Bridges' defense is going to turn up. OG's defense is going to turn up. Cat's going to play better. So you have to try to get everybody involved. And I think having Brunson off ball, that's going to help promote that. More pace and having more players involved. And overall, I mean, looking at, the practice film so far, what they got out there and things like that, I mean, it is encouraging to see the Knicks running more. Because, Thibs, in the Thibs, the Knicks played slow. Knicks was a half-court team. They just, brought the ball up slow and playing the half-court. So I think it's encouraging to see, that the team's running more. And honestly, from what I've seen so far, what I've heard so far, I'm definitely looking forward to the season.
I'm excited. Right, Fritz?
Absolutely. I think the Knicks have used like a lot of these buzzwords for like the longest time. No, we just ain't see it. Like, we talked about running, we talked uh, off ball. We Tibbs use all the buzzwords, but like we're finally seeing someone who's going to actually try to implement it. It makes a lot of sense for Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, uh, there's so many like dynamic point guards in the league that are just volume shooters. So you have to keep the ball in their hands and make something happen. Jalen Brunson's an actual good shooter.
Yeah.
So it's not. I don't think it's such a detriment to have him off ball. There's some players that'll shoot 40%, and you have to have it in their hands because they have to try to drive, get the foul. Jalen Brunson doesn't have to do that. So I'm confident it would work for the Knicks.
I was also surprised to see offense talked about so early in training camp. Tibbs almost never talked about offense in training camp. It was always defensive principles. You had Mike Brown talking, that phrase he used, bending the defense, about always looking for corner shooters. I was like, oh, okay. This means that Jalen Brunson is not going to be, it's not going to be a framework, whether it's a framework of the triangle, which it was fun. I just had a conversation on Twitter about this, where Thibs ran a lot of triangle framework and then would allow Jalen Brunson to make decisions and read and react to either go with that framework or take the ball when he had a mismatch. And he always had a mismatch because he's Jalen Brunson. I like the idea of it now. The offense is around bending it to bending the defense based on what you're running and always making sure that transition allows for corner shooters to be in their position so that defense is bent immediately and allows for single coverage on the ball handler. Having that mentality right in at the start of training camp is very different. Now, I see the chat saying Mike Brown sounds like Thibs, maybe in some ways, but in that way, there's a polar opposite.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they do have a lot of the same talking points. I will say that. Thibs and Mike Brown do have a lot of same talking points. But you're absolutely right, Lee. We never concentrated on offense day one. That's just that's just not Knicks like. That hasn't even been. I don't think it's ever been. That has not been our identity since what, maybe D'Antoni.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was always an emphasis on hitting shots,
Right.
and just making them drop. But like actually getting open to get open shots, there hasn't been like an actual focus on that.
Right. And like we said, running to the 3-point line. And he also emphasized pace. And here's the interesting thing he said about pace. He said, not just pace in the fast break, pace in the half court. Like once you even get to the 3-point line in those flat corners, moving off of that and going to another spot. And it's kind of like reading and reacting, but not with the triangle, but in his own type of system where there's constant movement. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I just like the feel of the talking point so far, and that we can see it through practice being implemented. I think that gets me excited. And also when you talk about other people bringing up the ball besides Jalen Brunson, just the reps of having somebody bring up the ball besides Brunson, I think is going to help, because during that Indiana Knicks playoff game, the one where we really got blown out, it seemed like everybody else had problems dribbling the ball in pressure situations. And I think having other people have their hand on the ball throughout the season is going to help us come playoff time when teams are ratcheting it up. Like you can't just ratchet up and play defense on Jalen Brunson when you have other playmakers and other schemes going on. So I'm excited to see what that looks like as we progress through preseason and the season.
It was kind of the one championship component that we were missing. We had the staunch rim protector and Mitchell Robinson. We had guys who could stretch the defense with their shooting and OG, Mikael, and Cat. We had that first option. We had that second option. We had multiple third options. We did not have the multiple ball handlers that OKC had, that Indiana had, that Boston had, that Denver had, all those champions over the last 4 years. You need multiple guys who can handle the ball and make plays in traffic when things tighten up. And now we added Malcolm Brogdon to that group, and also the unbelievable Jordan Clarkson, who I think is going to be really dynamic for us.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Mikael was supposed to at least be one of them, but he kind of dribbled off his foot in pressure situation. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know if the pressure got to him. I don't know if he needs to work on his ball handling in the summer, but that was one of the reasons why we got him here, was to be able to ball handle sometimes outside of Jalen Brunson, and he was having a hard time. So that led us down a dark path. But so far, what I like from these press conferences and from what I'm seeing in training camp have been those major talking points. And you talked about multiple ball handlers, so I'm gonna just ease into the multiple ball handler conversation. Let's talk about a couple of new Knicks, actually one new Knick and one old Knick, Malcolm Brogdon and Landry Shamet. All right. Before I even talk about them, I'm gonna just say this: Leon Rose, you slick devil, you pull it off. We needed some bench players. We did not have a lot of assets, a lot of money, and you delivered. This offseason, we end up with Jordan Clarkson, who's kind of like a 6-man a year type guy. Then you get Malcolm Brogdon, who's another 6-man a year type guy. Then you bring back Shamet and Yabusele. He did a masterful job maneuvering this offseason with limited assets. So I first just want to give props to Leon Rose. Also, not to be overlooked, Rich Paul and Leon Rose squashing their beef, paying off dividends. I remember wanting Malcolm Brogdon a few years ago, and some people is he CAA? Are they CAA? Those guys are clutch. Those were clutch agents. As you guys remember, we had like some kind of friction with clutch agents, especially after the Cam Reddish debacle with Thibs. They seem to have patched that up, and as soon as that's patched up, all of a sudden we get two clutch players on our team, and these two clutch players could be clutch for the Knicks and take us over the edge to the championship. So again, I want to big up Leon Rose for doing this thing. All right, but let's talk about it. Now we have Malcolm Brogdon to his team with Landry Shamet. They are on non-guaranteed contracts. First of all, do you think it's even possible that they don't make the team?
No, hell no. I think it's guaranteed. I think we're going to see a trade of one of the young kids before training camp. I think if there's anything like Mitch like or Deuce like that's going to come later in the season, to me, the most likely component is going to be a Patom Dadier or Tyler Toller trade now so that we can secure both those veterans before the season starts. Great point on clutch. That's, I think, really good component that shows how different Leon Rose is compared to past Zets, who either didn't have, who lacked the humility to go out and mend fences, or were too egotistical and arrogant to even recognize that there was a fence to mend. To have someone who can do that and impact it by having these low ball offers accepted for really good veterans, I think Leon is in the hot seat. I mean, the front seat right now for executive of the year. Not just the players that he accumulated, but Mike Brown specifically, and building their roster of brand new coaches out as well. That to me deserves some consideration for that award, and how we have a very different mindset from top to bottom, offense and defense, at the coaching staff. And I also want to say, the way that these guys have gotten signed has been unbelievable. For Jordan Clarkson to get cut immediately, to bought out immediately, and then he said on the podcast that Clutch called him, was like, "Where do you want to go?" And he said immediately the Knicks for the vet men. I can't remember the last time someone said that. Maybe JR when he was signed with us with the Carmelo era.
Mm-hmm.
And then Yabusele to dominate FIBA, and we get that beast who we had last year that didn't sign him, went to Philly, and was willing to come back. That means relationships weren't strained. It was a healthy departure there that allowed for his return. And then Brogdon, who still hasn't been like, "Yo, Deuce, I'm going to Houston to be their starting point guard," is still in training camp with us on a non-guaranteed deal. Like, damn, man, people really see us as the contenders that we are.
Yeah, I think it helps that the West is a bloodbath.
Yeah.
Like the West is Sparta, okay? Like you can be a good team with Kevin Durant all you want, but you're gonna have to fight. The East, I mean, yes, the Knicks are a good team. They're a great team. We look good, for real. But I think it helps. It helps a lot. Just being honest. Just being honest. But I agree. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, definitely. First and foremost, I want to say that multiple ball handlers is crazy work. That's definitely super pause. But I didn't want to ruin the flow earlier, so I'm just throw that out there. But 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 Malcolm Brogdon and Landry Shamet being added to the team, it's great additions. Like Lee said, you have like guys that are former 6 men in the year, Jordan Clarkson, Malcolm Brogdon, where they can bring these guys off the bench and they can produce. They can get buckets for you. Malcolm Brogdon, two-way player. He can give you the offense, he can give you the defense. The only issue with Malcolm Brogdon is the health issue. You're hoping that he can sustain his health throughout the season, but I'm not really concerned about that because of the Knicks health staff that they have at the moment. Because if you look at last year, because I think what they took some of the health people from Dallas, right, and brought them over to the Knicks. Yes, and if you look last year, like guys who are injury prone, like OG was fairly healthy all season. You know what I mean? So even though we're bringing in a guy like Brogdon, where it's like there's health issues, I'm not really concerned about that because I feel like the the health staff that the Knicks have right now, they'll get Brogdon straight. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to Brogdon at least being here for the majority of the games, and bringing in more ball handlers like Brogdon, Clarkson, guys that can create on the ball and things of that nature, and having Brunson, that's what that, and I think that's why Mike Brown is saying that he wants Brunson off ball more, because you have guys now that can actually handle the ball and actually create. So if you have other guys that can create and off the dribble and can get some of those duties off of Brunson, now you can have the offense be a bit more dynamic, where it's like we don't have to just depend on Brunson every single time to bring the ball up the court and initiate the offense. Now you have other guys that can do it as well. So, these guys are a big addition. I think that it just took the Knicks up a notch from last season. And of course, with the East being the way it is, Indiana Pacers are not going to be the same. Halliburton's out for the season. Celtics, Tatum's going to be out for most of the season. So the Knicks really have like a straight path to the finals. And if these guys just do their parts, like I really don't see anybody stopping the
Just beat the
Knicks from
Cavs.
getting to the finals with the roster that they have at the moment.
Just beat the Cavs. That's it. Just beat the Cavs. For real. Ebony! What's good, Ebony?
Having problems with that mute button as always. What's up,
Mhm.
y'all? It's good to be back. It's good to
Yes,
be back.
it's good to be back. Yeah, I really want to get into this starting five conversation. But I feel like I should wait. I feel like I should wait because oh my gosh. But I agree. I do not see Malcolm Brogdon being not on this team. Actually, Shams went on television and said the Knicks plan on using Malcolm Brogdon off the bench. And it's funny, like, unless catastrophe happens during training camp, where he just looks like absolutes, as Ryan G likes to say, basura. I just don't see him not being on the team. He has championship pedigree. He's been sixth man of the year. I still remember when he stole it from Manuel quickly. I still remember feeling slighted, but he had six man. He was sixth man of the year one year, 3-level scorer when he was doing his thing. I mean, and could play defense. The thing is, I'm not sure if all that is still there. Hopefully it is, because he had the stench of the Wizards on him from last season, where the 3-point shooting went down and all the shooting went down in general. But he's a career like 38% 3-point shooter, 45% field goal percentage. Like he's a baller. So to have him playing with Jalen Brunson would be nice. To have him coming off the bench, leading the charge as a playmaker would be nice. It's just having that pickup for cheap is just world class move. It's a move I wanted last season, the season before, and I'm glad we got it this season. It's making me feel like more and more this is a championship season.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about all the people that we did sign were once trade targets before, and we had to give up first round picks and things we couldn't afford to give up to get them. And to get all of them in like basically one off season, it's that's nutty. It's nutty, and it's like this is our this we pray for times like this. Like y'all mentioned, people wanting to come to New York trying to get a ring. And then when you speak about the culture, the front office has been behind. You've seen the vets, our ex players behind the front office, behind the organization again, bringing that family feel back to the org, and also just the fans getting respect finally. Just us being behind our team. Some people still they try to get on us for rooting for our team, but other than that, they understand that we wear our heart on our sleeve, and we're gonna tell you how we feel, whether you want to hear it or not.
That's a fact. Whether you want to hear it or not.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're finally a destination. I like Brogdon, but at the same time, I'm not too excited. If you look at his game played over the last few years, um, it's kind of disappointing. But the only solace I take is like last year, he took it easy. He played the mentorship role in Washington, so hopefully he's a little bit more healed up than he was a couple years ago.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's like, all right, last year he shot 30% from three. He had bad shooting season last year. But it's like he has nothing to play for, and you're playing with the Wizards. Like, you can't. I'm not going to take that with a grain of salt. It's just one of those things where I'm just looking closely this season. Okay, like was that a fluke? Was that, or can we ratchet it back up because now you have competition? You know what I'm saying? The year before that, he's playing with Portland. Still wasn't really that competitive with Portland. Better than the Wizards though. The Wizards is so you know Chauncey Billups is there, so it's a little bit more of a direction, even though they know they wasn't gonna make any headway. But he still shot 42% from three the season before that in Portland, and was a leader in that locker room. So I think bare minimum he's gonna bring leadership here.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he gets some of that 3-level scoring, a little bit of defense, leadership type of role with the Knicks that we saw in Boston. Even if it's not complete what we saw in Boston, some remnants of that, because that was only 2 seasons ago. It really was.
Yeah, I agree. And Jay, also about the health issue. I always like to tell people that all minutes are not the same minutes. You can't go by prior because you don't know the workload that he had during these teams. On these teams. You don't know if he played with the likes of the defenders or offensive caliber players all through the team.
Right.
Like, so his IQ and fundamentally sound, it will help us in some type of way. Just like I felt like Shamet would help us eventually. It's just the same kind of feel. A person that knows how to run the team, doesn't do much to hurt your team. The only thing that's been an issue is his health.
Right.
So why not fill up your roster with guys like that?
Yeah, I think
and just for
it's
some context, he played 24 games with the Washington Wizards. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what can you really get from 24 games? Started 13, and it's a losing team. And then the year before with Portland, he played 39 games, like half a season. So take what you want from that. Hopefully we get a full healthy season of Brogdon and he shows out. But Fritz, really I want to talk to you about something, Fritz, because Mr. NBA economy over here. I already know Fritz always has a trade in his back pocket. I feel like he dreams in trades.
Look, I got the finger up already. I already know.
This is not a trade mid segment, Ebony. So you put your guns away, all right? Put your guns away, all right?
I holster it now.
Fritz, in your opinion, because there has been a lot of talk from Ian Begley that Deuce McBride, Hakeem Dadier, and Tyler Kolek might be traded to make room for the Knicks to sign both Shamet and Malcolm Brogdon. In your opinion, who do you feel is the most likely to leave the Knicks and why?
Most likely of all of them, I would say it would be Deuce.
Deuce.
Most likely. And I think a lot different than everybody else. Most people are saying, hey, one guy is going to be traded to make room for Landry Shamet. I think 2 people would be traded to bring back one person, and there will be room for Landry Shamet and Malcolm Brogdon.
I gotta hear this because Deuce is last on my list. I don't think there's no way Deuce is being traded this season. I don't see it. Unless some crazy trade opens up, not to make room for Hakeem, not to make room for Brogdon. So I want to hear your reasoning for this.
I totally agree with you. I don't think you can justify trading one of those players to bring Landry Shamet back.
Facts.
Like, I don't think it's justified. Like, I would rather just keep the player and let Landry Shamet walk.
Okay. So when I ask this question, I'm asking because who would get traded to bring back Shamet and Brogdon? That's what I'm asking.
I think
might have to get this conversation later though.
I think you may have Deuce, maybe Huck Porty, Deuce, and maybe Kolek.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No way.
Like
No
I,
way.
there's one person I don't believe would be traded in Pacome Dadier. And I think one thing about Pacome Dadier, if you trade Pacome Dadier, someone of substance has to be returned. Like you can't trade Pacome Dadier and say, "Hey, I got a pick back." Nah, that's not gonna fly. That was your first round pick last year. You can't justify it. If you trade Pacome Dadier, you have to bring somebody who's like a game changer for the Knicks.
I don't think he can even get a game changer for Bacone Dadier.
For
It's too early for that.
him alone, no, I don't think alone.
It's too early.
You would have to trade him with someone else. Yeah.
So you think Deuce or Hukporty will be in a trade
Together, I think there'll be two. I think there'll be two
to
people
bring back
leaving.
Shamet and
Bring
Brogdon?
back one more, 2 for 1. So 2 players going out, 1 player coming back, and there will be a space. There will be a space for to sign both those other 2 players.
Does anybody want to fight with him?
Definitely. I don't know who's on the market right now. Like who is available to be moved right now. I feel like if they were available, they would have been moved because they would have gotten a better package than Deuce and Bride and Hot Porty or Deuce and Bride and Tyler Tollett. We don't have the pit cachet to really outbid anybody. We have to get someone whose value is on the decline right now because our assets that we have, unless we're including Mitch or Mikael Bridges or Josh Hart, we don't get outbid. So I think if there was a piece to trade Deuce, even if it's a Deuce plus one young guy or Deuce plus one guy, a swap and Wizards, I don't think there's a player out there that's currently available to be acquired because that would mean we're getting a starter in my mind if we're trading Deuce. Like you said, we're not trading Deuce for a bench piece. We're trading Deuce for a starter who doesn't bring additional issues to the table. Like they don't play D or they can't hit a 3 or they're undersized. We're trading Deuce for a piece that fits the 3 most important
Yeah,
boxes.
a serious piece to the team.
Yeah, and I don't think that player is available right now. I don't think that player would become available until the midway point when teams kind of know who they are and where they're going to land.
I agree. I think there's zero chance that we trade Deuce to make room for Shamet and Brogdon. Zero chance. I feel like I love Bacone Dadier, but I feel like it's going to be between Bacone and Kolek. And I feel like a lot of teams are going to push for Bacone. I think that's what's going to happen. Now, like, it's going to be a battle of attrition because teams knowing we're loading up for a championship, they might have a little leverage going, well, you want them on your team, don't you? Give us Bacone like that. That's usually when you look around the league and you look how good young players end up on other teams. Is they end up on other teams usually because there's a team that's in championship win now mode, and they ended up having to let go of young players because they're in championship winning now mode, and that's what it seems like this is right now. So I can see Bacone being let go because of it. Tyler Kolek, ideally, I would want him to be gone, but what is his trade value right now? Unless you convince me, I mean, there might be a team who's like, "Hey, we'll give you a second."
Yeah.
We'll
They
give you
said
a
an offer
second.
was already made, so
Go ahead, and it works out. I'm hoping that's what really happens.
I know we're in win now, but Leon Rose has always kept his eye on kind of on his future, like not handicapping himself with all his eggs in one basket. Like you know how Golden State won a championship and then it kind of fell apart afterwards because they didn't have anybody else. They didn't have a next.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's what happens with Pacone because I think he is the next. You get what I mean? So I don't see him going. I do see maybe I don't want it to happen, Deuce, because I heard it was whispers of course, him wanting to get paid.
Mm.
So if the New York is not going to do that, or no, they're not going to do that, then you might see it. You might just see him being moved, especially if you do have the veteran presence of the point guards we have, along with the defense already staggered around the roster, and now you have points off the bench. So it might happen. I say Deuce. You know, if People say Mitch, but if you have championship aspirations, I don't think that's the type of player you let go during trade deadline. You see it through. Um, and also I believe Josh Hart might be a candidate if push come to shove.
Hmm.
If it don't work out or he doesn't progress and grow in his role.
I think when you mentioned Deuce and the whispers of being paid, we already know Knicks don't pay people more than what they are worth. We know that. But like I said, I don't think, even though Deuce might be a candidate to be traded, I don't see him as a candidate to be traded right now to make room for Shamet and Brogdon. If a Deuce trade happens, it's going to be later. Maybe halfway during the season, maybe next season, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah,
Start training camp.
Yeah, I agree with
yeah,
that. I agree with that. So
yeah. I agree with that as well. And at least the way I look at it, I'm like, okay, the Knicks have championship aspirations, right? I think you're going to want to keep players that are part of a fabric of this team. I don't think you want to break that so early. Deuce has been with the Knicks for several seasons. He's part of the fabric of this team. Same with a player like Mitch. Mitch has been with the Knicks for seasons as well, so he's a part of the fabric of the team as well. So I think if you're the Knicks, you at least want to see how things are going, before you even think about, okay, let me trade a guy like Deuce or whatever the case may be. So that's the only reason why I can't see the Knicks being like, okay, you know what? We want to sign Shaman, we want to sign Brogdon. Let's just get rid of Deuce right now so we
Yeah.
can create space for those two guys. I think Knicks are going to want to at least keep him here and at least see how things go. Then if the trade deadline comes and you see like, okay, we're missing a piece or we need a shakeup or whatever the case may be, then I think that's when Deuce might come into the conversation and be like, okay, do we move Deuce or do we keep him or whatever the case may be? But I think as of right now, I think those guys you would want to keep them because they're part of the fabric of the team. Knicks have championship aspirations, and unfortunately, when a team has championship aspirations, when it comes to trades, the guys that are up to be traded are more than likely the young guys, the guys that they have some value, but they're not getting playing time because they have a bunch of guys ahead of them in the rotation.
Yeah, and on a cheap contract because
Yeah, I do have a little bit of pushback. Like Deuce has been in the fabric over the last 4 years. He's like a great teammate. But out of the years that he's been on the Knicks, he's had a half a season of great shooting. And outside of that half a season, his shooting hasn't been like elite or hasn't been hasn't what you could call good shooting. So I think I don't know how irreplaceable he is with that. I think his defense is great, but is limited to certain size players.
like me and Lee about to. Let's not go down, but go ahead,
Well,
Lee.
yeah, I've had this conversation on Twitter a couple of days ago. There's a definitely contingency of Knicks fans that agree with Fritz about only having that half a season of shooting as an indication of what kind of shooter Deuce can be. But I'll point to a couple of differentiators that I think are very key in understanding the context. The type of shots that Deuce hits, other players on the roster are incapable of hitting those shots. And what I mean by that is he's a movement shooter. He is really the only player on this current roster that can mimic any level of Dante DiVincenzo's volume shooting and movement shooting as well. It's a shot profile where if we saw this not just in the regular season, we all have memory of it in the playoffs as well. Deuce was one of the few players we depend on when he's really tightly contested, or even within a double team and scrambling to split the double team, he can pull up off the dribble and hit a three. That's a skill set that I think him, Brunson, maybe Mikael Bridges when he's on fire have. No one else has that. Now
Shamet.
Jordan Clark, I would even say that Shamet doesn't have it at that level of those three guys. Deuce McBride has shown a ballsiness to make those kind of shots in the playoffs. You have to consider that opposed to just a raw number percentage, which if you look at basketball.com or NBA.com, you'll look at the stats and you're like, damn, career 36, not that good. But if you think about last year, 36.9% from three on 4.9 attempts, but he shot 41% from the corners from on catch and shoot. That's also very important. So if you think about everything that Mike Brown said today in the first day of training camp, it's every possession. The first thing that happens if a guys get to the corners, which establishes that wavy defense that they have to adjust to what we're doing, opposed to the other way around, where our offense now adjusts to their set defense. And those corner shots, you need guys like Deuce who shoot over 40% on catch and shoot opportunities.
And I just want to add this too to it. Dude was injured most of the season. I think people forget that when you're injured, you work yourself back into playing shape and playing rhythm. Like every time, I feel like every time his shooting went down, to me that was an indicator that he was hurt, because he would be hot, shoot 40%. He would stink for like 3 games, and then they would not play him, and they'd be like, "Oh, he pulled something." And I think those games where he was shooting bad for those stretches, he was trying to play through injury. And I feel like the year before that, he was a lot more consistent throughout the year. So like, I really believe like an off season of healing and your body right. I think he's gonna have a better shooting year, just because he's not going to be in and out of rotation because of injury. He'll be a lot healthier, and I'm pretty sure his numbers are going to go up. I bet money. If he's healthy throughout the whole year, he's going to be closer to 38-40 from 3.
One thing I will say that I think he could improve under Mike Brown. Like Deuce is a great athlete. Like he's a great athlete. Our stagnant offense wasn't doing him any favors. I think with a lot more movement, Mike Brown's bring it in. It may like energize his play. Like it may energize his play. His height would be less of a factor with a more movement on the offense.
Absolutely. What's and as bad as he was shooting last year, let's see, we have 2024-2025 season 38% from 3. So how bad was he really shooting? I don't know.
And 41% catch and shoot threes.
Yeah, so, and career high from the mid-range last season. So even in his down year from shooting, because the year before that he shot 41% from 3. So you drop from 41% to 38%. If that's your dip, and that's why people are pissed at him, I'm taking that dip. I'm taking that down year at 38% anytime. So you want to say something, Ebony? I feel like you want to say something.
You know I'm having that mute button be
I
whooping
know
my
you,
behind.
the mute button was fighting for your life.
But yeah, I think Deuce will look better in this offense too. I do. And with Deuce, it wasn't his shooting so much. It was just the handle and the layup package. We get that down, and I think we see a dangerous Deuce, because he already worked on the jump shot. He has a mid-range assassin. He could be at times. The defensive part, the effort, the heart, everything, that part is there. He's giving you his all. So if the dribbling, I was saying this summer again on that Nike commercial, if you got to go to the Chinese food store, you go with that basketball, and and, the layup package. Like watch Steph, watch Kyrie, smaller guards who layup package is immaculate, really. So even Jalen Brunson, you play with one. So
Isaiah Thomas.
yeah, just watch a bunch of film, and I think him again mentioning the health, him having a healthy off season to be able to add to his game and to be able to, you know, get his body and stuff the way he want to. And everybody knows when you play the new coach and a new team, you showing out the first couple of weeks. You want to let them know what you got. So I see Deuce. I think Deuce will work well in Mike Brown's offense with the he works on like a 0.5 system. So if you don't have a shot, you're not dribbling, you pass. Everything has to be quick. And I think, like you mentioned, he works well or shots on the move. He doesn't have to think about it.
I thought, as I think Ebony brought up a really great point that I wanted to touch on too, is that Deuce's Finishing around the rim to me is a bigger issue than his shooting.
Facts.
I think that the shooting has shown itself in big playoff moments to be dependent upon. The finishing around the rim, that's where there's a lot to be desired. But again, and Fritz made this point too, Tom Thibodeau's offense didn't do him any favors. A lot of those at the rim attempts were against a set defense in traffic. They knew how players were funneled if a three-point shot wasn't being done down, so they'd create a wall, and you're seeing a double team every time you drive. That should be different under Mike Brown if we're truly pushing the pace.
Agreed. And you know what? I think this conversation kind of leads me to another conversation that I've been wanting to have with you guys. Starting 5 predictions. All right. Shout out to my guy Nick Nader on Twitter. Having a little fun talking about starting 5s. With a bunch of new players here, with Tom Thibodeau gone, there's going to be new opportunities to have a new starting 5, new rotation, expanded rotation. He talked about going 9, 10 deep. 10 deep would be interesting for the Knicks, something we haven't seen in a while. So I just want to ask you guys, what do you see your ideal starting 5 being? And I'm going to start with Lee. You see, since I kind of know what his starting 5 is going to be already. But go ahead, Lee.
I don't think there is an ideal starting 5. I think every possible starting 5 player, and this is not to denigrate any of them because I love them all 3 options I love, especially Mitch and Deuce. I think they come with caveats. With Mitchell Robinson, you lose some spacing. You definitely lose shooting. You also lose Cat's mismatch with his speed and quickness and footwork at the 5. Now you have him at the 4 where you can crowd him and push him away from the basket. With Josh Hart, the lack of shooting is atrocious. The slipping defense is a problem. And Deuce McBride, who might give you the shooting, the on-ball defense, he only sits 1, sits 2. So what B made a great point on Twitter. When's the last time a team won a championship with an undersized backcourt? It's been a very, very, very long time. If we go back to the late 80s, early 90s with Detroit. So it's troublesome. There is not an optimum, premium, good, best starting 5 lineup. But if I think about what we're missing the most is spacing and 5-out shooting and someone to guard the point of attack that's not Mikael Bridges so that he can use his energy on the offensive end and be more of a disruptor in the passing lanes than having to fight through strings. So Deuce is my guy. Grimes got his opportunity. Dante got his opportunity. Fournier got his opportunity. I think it's time for Deuce to finally earn his opportunity. Sadly, it was under Thibs at the 2-guard spot and see what he can bring. Also, in order to inflate his worth in the open market, he needs to start. It's going to be hard for him to ever really get back swapping a starter for a starter if he's on the bench. But him as a starter, if he becomes a most improved candidate or makes the biggest leap in points per game year over year, he could become a piece that you do add a swap or the Wizards pick to get that 5th starter if it's a better fit overall. But to me, he should the initial opportunity.
That's an interesting point of view that I haven't thought about before. Picking you because I feel like I know what you're gonna pick. Just for contrast, what do you think you're gonna? What's your starting 5?
You already know.
You already know.
Money Mitch, and it's not because that's my guy. It's because I think it makes more sense. I think Mitch allows everybody to go back into their original spots. I think we saw Cat what playing the 5 a whole season does to him. Like he had with times where we were like craving for the All-Star break or waiting for a couple of days in a row off or hoping Thibs might not play him just this game. So he can get some extra rest. So you mentioned the advantage on offense he brings, but the disadvantage on defense he brings. And we already know rebounding and defense win championships. So Mitch will help them keep, let them do their job so he can do the dirty work. You do their job. And with Mike Brown's offense, everybody can eat. And with Sabonis, when he first got there, his jump shot, people would want him to shoot 3-pointers. Sabonis, if you had a choice, you would want him to shoot 3-pointers, right? So Mike Brown, knowing this, is which is why I wanted a coach so badly who does this, who takes your talents of your player and meshes it with your system. He doesn't run normal plays the way they ran, where normal people run 2 guards. He'll run both of his bigs just to keep the defense as honest. he did that with Sabonis. He'll run a person. He'll run offense with through actions through Sabonis to keep his defender honest. So because now you have to defend me if I'm setting a pick for Jalen Brunson. You have to come up and defend me if I'm setting a pick for so and so. And on the other side of this play that's going on, they running a stagger screen on the other end. So it's constant movement. It's not really going to matter who's on the offense because they're going to make sure the spacing. He's all about spacing and pace. He's trying to catch people to make mistakes. That can happen with multiple people. And the way he uses his offense, he's a person that studied under Kerr, and Kerr studied under Pop. You already know what Popovich's offense was. Kerr's not, he don't fall far from the tree. And Mike Brown has learned a lot from Kerr. He's mentioned that multiple times. So there's multiple ways you can make Cat, and Cat plays well with other bigs. When he played with Rudy, he was in the top in alley oops. So you can let Cat play playmaker while Mitch is setting off ball screens. But the there's rim running in Mike Brown's offense. There's stagger screens. There's 45 cuts. It's just like a beautiful. It's basketball in its finest form for me. So Ball, he believes in discipline, accountability. So if Cat, you not playing defense, you might have to take a seat one couple days. And I respect that. I respect that. I respect it. So that's why I think Mitch should start because he does the dirty work and it's not really. I think we see a different outcome on offense for Mitch, and you'll see what really people will see what player and ball movement really does. What I've been speaking about since I've been on this show over and over and over. So I'm super excited to be able to see that.
Before we even go to the next person, if you're appreciating the breakdowns of the people on the show, hit that like button, please. Hit that subscribe button. We here, we talking Knicks basketball, KOT squads. I'm telling you, there's a lot of shows out there, and there's some good shows out there. But we have some of the brightest minds in the Knicks Nation on this team. So if you like the show, hit that like and subscribe for sure, for sure. All right, go ahead, Ryan.
Okay, so I've had a lot of thought about this, so just bear with me for a second. I know in today's NBA, there's a lot of obsession over 5-out offenses. And I'm looking at like past NBA champions, and I'm like, oh, were all these teams really 5-out offenses? Like, is this really something that's essential for the Knicks to actually get to that next level and win a championship? I look at the OKC Thunder last season. Hardison is not a stretch five. The Thunder did not play 5-out all the time. They had a center that knew how to set screens, get to his spots on the floor where he can, get his little hook shot off and things of that nature. And the Thunder had four shooters around him. So I'm like, okay, the Thunder didn't play 5-out all the time. Celtics played 5-out. The Warriors, another team. Warriors didn't play 5-out all the time. They had Looney in the center. So when I really look at it, I'm like, is this 5-out obsession really a thing where if a team doesn't play 5-out all the time, they can win they cannot win a championship? I don't think that's the case here. Now, do I think Mike Brown will do this based on his history? I don't think so. But the starting five I want to see with the Knicks, I'm more leaning towards Ebony with Mitch at center and then Cat at power forward, which I think Cat, although Cat does have advantages when he plays the five because he's typically quicker and things of that nature, I also think that at the four he's less banged up, which I think will improve Cat's health throughout the season because he doesn't have to bang with all these fives around the league. He can play the four and play more spaced out, which I think does suit him. And then you have OG at the three, which is his natural position. Bridges at the two, pretty much natural position. Then you have Brunson. And the thing here is, if I'm basing it off of Mitch's tape, because Mitch has posted a lot of practice tape where, he's showing like how he's improving his game and things of that nature. He's not just working on his free throw shooting. He's also working on a hook shot, which I think would be very essential because if you're going to play Mitch at the 5 with 4 shooters around him, I do think it's essential for him to at least learn like a little, like a little hook shot or whatever the case may be, because there's going to be times when it's going to benefit the Knicks where if somebody's driving to the basket and the big moves up to like stop the bats to like stop the ball. If Mitch can just well, no, let me rephrase that. If a guard is going to the basket and the big decides to stay back and protect the rim, if Mitch can just learn to like pop out a bit to where he could be open for those little like hook shots, whatever the case may be, I think it would be a huge help to Knicks offense, because it's going to make it a bit more dynamic where you're not just looking at Mitch as a guy that he can only finish at the rim. Now he can pop out and shoot a little hook shot and things of that nature, and that's what he's working on in the offseason. So when I really look at it, I'm like, although the 5-out scheme is great and it would make the offense a bit more harder to guard in general, I look at it and I'm like, and I see the flaws from last season where the Knicks had Cat and Brunson in the same lineup and how that defense struggled time and time and time again to stop the opposition. I think I would focus more on getting that defense shored up, knowing that, okay, although Mitch cannot shoot, you still have 4 shooters around him that can shoot, and he can still score the ball even with Mitch at center. And if Mike Brown is talking about speeding up pace and making the team move quicker, then if that's the case, the defense is not even going to be set a lot of times to even try to stop the Knicks from scoring, because they have one less shooter on the court. So the way I look at it, I'm like, you know what? Based on the flaws from last season, I'd rather show up the defense, and we still got guys that can put the ball in the basket around Mitch. That's how I see it.
You know what? We talked about 5-out to death on this program. I've always said, especially me and Lee in particular. But one thing I will say about 5-out, I don't necessarily feel like we have to start with 5-out, but I think you need the versatility to be able to play it at points, whether it be at beginning of the game, middle of the game. So it's not necessarily have to start with it, but I do feel like having that ability to keep people honest and have a 5-out system at times is going to help us.
You went the same direction that I was too. I actually don't disagree too much with. I'm actually fine with Mitch. I prefer Deuce because I think it makes more sense for how you can build assets too. And also, starting Mitch worries me about how the bench rotation is deployed. It's had 4 small, undersized guys and Yabusele, who then comes in, plays the 4, and Cat moves to the 5. I don't like that rotation either.
But go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to touch you.
But no, one final point is Ryan's right. I think there is too much made about 5-out, and no team that won a championship in the last 5 years really started a 5-out unit. Even Denver had Bruce Brown, who wasn't a 3-point threat, but all of them won a championship closing with a 5-out unit. That's where I think the 5-out has had its impact, is all the Game 7, all the close moments. Think about last year, Game 7, Hart was benched. Chet was a 5 when they won the championship against who was it? Indiana. Sorry. The Pacers. So I think that's important to note. Yes, you don't need to build your team around 5-out or start 5-out, but you do close 5-out, which doesn't make an argument toward Mitch not starting.
No, I'm not talking. I'm just asking. I can't really remember. I forgot a lot of basketball too. My memory shot, yo. Roses and petunias. But do you remember the closing lineup with Golden State? Was Looney out there? Or Draymond is out there. Draymond is always out there. He's not a shooter.
I think
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I mean. Those type of player, the Popoviches, the Kerrs, they don't need 5-out to generate movement. They have a way of making space. They know they use their players. Yeah. So they know, they understand, oh yeah, you're not guarding Mitch because he's not a shooter. But if we dribble handoff Mitch all day, you got no chance but to have to come up and guard him, especially if I'm doing it for a Mikael, or even if I do it for Cat. You got to come up. So those type of real coaches like that, they generate without needing the 5-out space.
The only Warriors lineup that did not close 5-out to win a championship was the most recent one. Before that, it was very back and forth between Bogut and Draymond closing games at the 5, but the Durant years, they always went 5 out. I mean, why would you not, right? To win
Yeah.
those chips. But the last one, yeah, Kevon Looney did close a lot of the games. That's true.
Go ahead, Fritz.
I kind of look to the past. I see Mike Brown always had at shooting guard someone who was kind of maybe a tweener, someone who could handle the rock. I'm not sure if he sees that in Mikael. So if he sees that in Mikael, I could see him starting Josh the season and see how it goes. If he has to pull him, he has to pull him. But it because he's always had like a Zach LaVine, he's always had like a guard, like someone he could defer to. I think if he sees that in Mikael, I think you may see Josh start the season.
I don't think he was coaching when they had Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine came after Mike Brown.
Oh,
But he
yeah,
did
Also, got to remember Kevin Herter.
Kevin Herter, yeah.
Kevin Herter.
He was
So
Malik
that's
Monk.
not
Right, Lee.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like Mikael can do. He had Kevin Herter looking like something different. We thought he took his lead. He
Yeah.
we might have missed something with Herter, but when he played with Mike Brown. So I've watched like just Mike Brown and Golden State. You know that Steph is my favorite player. So I watch Golden State very, very closely because that is my favorite player. And one thing they do is they use their players' awareness, their players' presence as an offense. You get what I mean? So they'll let Cat or Mitch or Yabusele run the point guard and have Mikael OG and Jalen Brunson might even have Cat back there sometimes playing, just so the defense can't set up. He's really good at disguising stuff and making it easier for his players. So he has the talent now, like overall talent all through his team. Now he can just pick and play with pause with the pieces. And I can't wait to see what it looks like. That's one thing that he is really good at is meshing his team's strengths with his philosophies.
Yo, one thing I want to mention, and I'm kind of on the side of Lee. I can go either. I can go Mitch or Deuce. To be honest with you, I'm not interested in seeing Josh Hart start this season. I'm just not. I'm over it. We've had I think our worst starting lineup after January was that 5-man unit. So I'm over that lineup with Josh Hart. The Josh Hart also injured his finger. So he was scared to shoot before. Him with being a bad finger, I felt like it's only gonna make it worse. So
Might straighten it out.
Hmm?
It might straighten his shot out.
Maybe.
Yo,
That's
what?
great.
That's diabolical. Yo,
Oh my gosh. That's mean.
Oh man.
yo, yo,
Oh my gosh.
that is
It might, you never know.
Oh man.
oh man.
Incoming Josh Hart 40% 3-point season
There
uploading.
we go. One less finger. All right. Straighten everything.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh,
Because
man.
it was already crooked, so the finger might just keep it lined up. Who knows? I'm just trying to be optimistic about it.
Oh,
Oh
man.
man, he gonna wear a splint for his life. You know, like when you get injured and then you're like, "Oh, I'm playing good now because I got a mask on." And he might finger healed up. He might just wear that splint still. I don't know. We'll see. But it's funny. I've been wanting Mitch to start all last season. I was mad that Thibs didn't start Mitch earlier in the playoffs, and when it happened, I was like, finally. So, you would think I would want Mitch to start this season definitively, but it's not that easy for me this season. Only because, and the big reason why is actually Malcolm Brogdon. Because I feel like, kind of like what Lee was saying, if you look, so let's say we start Mitch, which I'm like, you have Brunson, Mikael, OG, Cat, Mitch being your starting 5. Then if we go 10, we got Clarkson here, right? Clarkson, Deuce, Hart, then Yabusele, then I guess you go Haporti. Unless you go like 4 smalls. So it'll be Clarkson, Brogdon, Deuce, Hart, Yabu, which is kind of small.
I Jay, and I'm mad about it because it's one of my favorite sayings. I know Thibs kind of soured it, but because he was putting in earplugs when he said, "Listen to the game." So he was putting in them earplugs when he was saying that though. I think it might just depend on the matchups. Like we're just that deep. We just have that many players. Some people might show up during one game and might not the other game, and that's okay. Just listen. You have a seat in your game, okay? You have a seat today. We'll play who is producing today, and that's just it. That way you keep down the minutes. It doesn't get predictable, and the most important part is you keep down those minutes, and you still have everybody involved because they know if they're playing hard, they're going to play.
I
And,
feel
and
you.
at,
I feel
at
you
the
in
end of the
theory,
day, and at the end
but
of
in
the day,
actuality,
if
I'm
we
tired of our bench being so small.
well, and in the staggering of the minutes, we know we don't always go 5 in, 5 out like that. So who's to say that he doesn't mesh the bench into it? That way we can play some 5 out basketball that you want. Just don't allow Cat to do it all game. You get what I'm saying? You can hit him in spurts. That way you save him throughout the season.
Hmm.
I I
Yeah.
I
On
expected that answer. That's the answer I thought Mike Brown would add yesterday. That the game depending on the matchup, but his answer was camp will tell. And when I was like, camp will tell, like, okay, is he hiding something? Like, that's how I took it. And it's like, okay, if you just, it would have been totally fine and say, hey, based on the matchups, that's who's going to start.
I
It would have been easy.
I I think if you're a coach, you have to give players incentives to bust their ass, even if you do have a preference. Like they went out there and said no spots are guaranteed. Everybody and their mama know Brunson and Cat are starting.
Right.
yeah.
But he went to the media and said no starting spots are guaranteed. So like, what are we talking about here? All right, what do we?
Yeah, I'll say this. I understand the concern with like, the bench being small and this and that, but I do believe they could stagger minutes, for example. Like or even if you start with the two big lineup, you could take somebody out the game early and like, if you think that okay, at this point in the game, 5 out is what's essential, then yeah, you take out Mitch early, you put in somebody, you move Cat to the 5, and you play like that. If you think it's essential for Mitch to have a rim protector, have somebody in the middle, then yeah, you take out Cat, you bring in somebody else, and you keep Mitch at the 5. If you think that, you know what, against this team, we're just better off going small. Then you take both. Then you take both bigs out. Then you have probably Yabusele in the middle and just have 4 and just go small if it's necessary. Like the part of dynamic coaching is you try to like mold the team based on who you're facing. So it's like the Knicks can go multiple ways. Like I don't think that starting both Mitch and Cat is going to hinder the bench like that when you can stagger minutes and change up lineups depending on the matchup. So I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, I think there's a way around it.
Look,
Hmm.
realistically though, you start Mitch, right? Cool. In theory, yes, but in actuality, one of these guards are gonna not play that much. Clarkson,
Hmm.
Deuce, Hart, Brogdon. Whose minutes are you severely cutting?
And I don't know about the minutes burst thing. I
Because one
don't
of those
know.
guys' minutes is being cut like a lot.
But
If you
I
start
think
Mitch.
I think but and then we say with Clarkson, we understand that he also he can be Josh Hart with just a better offensive game. Sometimes he could get on his J.R. Smith. I love J.R., one of my favorite personal players.
Mm-hmm.
But he was known to never see a shot he didn't like. And also, he made a couple of appearances on Shaq and the Fool a couple times. So
So you saying
so
cut Clarkson's minutes?
so when those nights happen, his minutes might be a little less. That's what I mean. Just those games, then the rotation might look a little different. if Mitch doesn't have it, the game might look a little different. And that's it should. And I'm okay with that with that aspect. It just like mentioned, whatever we can play different ways. Keep it fresh at the end of the day, and then you can see for the playoffs what worked and what didn't. For real, for real.
So Clarkson. So Ebony says Clarkson. That's what I heard. That's what I heard in my head.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know about that one. I think
I do. I watch. We'll revisit this, Fritz.
Because that's
We
what's gonna
gonna
happen.
revisit
One
this
of those guards
combo.
minutes gonna cut like severely.
think Shamet,
Josh
but-
Hart,
Yeah.
Clarkson, Brogdon, and who am I missing?
Deuce.
One of those four guards minutes gonna get cut if Mitch starts like severely.
I think it's Hart. Then I'm going Hart
Yeah.
because he's the one road like the Swiss, because his Swiss Army knifing right now is going against him because he doesn't really do anything else elite that nobody else does.
So
Right now, you get what I mean? So now we got Mitch, the rebounding part that we was all rebound. That we can get that. You understand? We can get that part. Then we was talking about the defensive part, and he kind of had a down slope on that end last year. So we can't even say that for him. You understand? Then you talk about the playmaking. Yeah, he helped JB playmaking. Then he had some brain farts too, but he did help. I give him that. But you say, hey, can we get a jump shot? We get like half a year jump shot, like right before All-Star jump shot, but it didn't translate to the whole year jump shot. And so, and then you think about Mikael, you think about OG, you think about Deuce, you think about now Jordan Clarkson, you think about Shamet, Yabusele.
Yeah.
All together collectively, they can do what Josh Hart does.
I don't think Shamet's gonna get any minutes.
Well, I don't either. He had one of them jerseys that say, "Hey, I might not see the court this year." You know, one of them colored jerseys.
Sure
Yeah.
did.
He had one of those on. So
Yeah, I also think that it's Shamet that's gonna have his minutes cut because
he ain't playing.
I know Ebony said Clarkson, but I remember that my bro had a guard in Sacramento named Malik Monk, and that guy's another guy that he never sees a shot that he don't like. That man taking all kind of shots. So I think Mike Brown like him a guard that's gonna just shoot the rock and have no damn consciousness.
Ryan, when you got Michael Jordan slapping you, you know something ain't right.
Yeah, exactly. So I can see Mike Brown loving Clarkson. I can see Clarkson getting his minutes, but I think it's Shamet that's gonna have his minutes kind of cut and be situational.
Now I'm not even talking about Shamet because we already know Shamet ain't playing. I'm talking about Clarkson, Deuce, Hart, and I'm almost forgetting one. Clarkson, Deuce,
Brogdon.
Brogdon.
And Brogdon.
It's kind of crowded back there.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
Mitch
I'm in between Clarkson and Hart, like because I understand that both one night Hart could probably have 19 rebounds, give you a couple threes, it'll be his night. Same thing with Clarkson. He might give us a 30 point with the type of talent we got around him. But then it's going to be those nights where they can't hit a bucket whatsoever, and they turning the ball over, and they can't guard nobody. They can't spell defense. So then those games, the minutes start getting, your minutes get a little iffy with that. That's just, so with me it's either or. But if I would pick between Clark, I have to say Hart. I think Hart's minutes, because he was here, I think he's going to not play as much minutes as he did under Thibs.
Okay, so she says
we have several players who have injury histories, so it's good to have insurance. So just because Shamet may not be the guy starting out the year, you have guys who are known to miss games, and he could become important real quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing about Mitch starting is Huck 40. 40 minutes.
I don't know. Is Mitch more than a 20-minute a game player anymore?
Yeah, he's been
can you bet on him making more than 20 minutes a game?
Okay, I'm gonna
and stay
you
healthy.
Again. I'm going to tell you. See, I'm pulling out the guns again. I'm gonna tell you again, right? You see it?
Fighting
It
words.
is.
Can
Nah,
Mitch play 20 minutes a game, Ebony? That's what I heard. Go ahead.
nah, again, all minutes are not the same minutes. Mitch does not have to jump all around the court erasing mistakes. He has two other defensive playmakers right along on that perimeter with him. It is not the same minutes, and if you factor in that the game has slowed so much for Mitch. When I mean so much, I mean a lot. That baby sees. There's no more recovery. He's prepared. Like he sees what's happening before it happened. That's why he's out there calling for everybody else.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah,
I
nah.
know, look, Ebony, you value Mitch so much. I value Mitch a lot too. But Mike Brown, and you look at his history of the players who played on his team, he's never really valued someone like Mitch.
But kind
The
of did.
stretch,
Well,
the
except for Alex,
stretch.
he played Alex in a little bit. But we talk about Rashard Holmes. He wasn't. He added to his game as a 3-point shooter, but he wasn't known as a 3-point shooter.
I know.
You
But
get me?
I'm just saying that
We talk
his
about also
history.
Sabonis. Sabonis is
Mhm.
added to his game, but he's not a knockdown 3-point shooter. You would rather, at all the shots, you would rather Sabonis shoot from outside, right? If you had a choice between mid range, post up, hook shot, you would say, okay, I'd rather him shoot out there. So like he's had players that are not uh, uh shooting threats, if you want to say. And again, that all comes from movement when you have, that's why I was so big on it. When you have ball and player movement, you force the defense to play and make mistakes and mismatch. They can't say, if you moving fast, how can you identify that that is Mitch and still get your assignment? You're just moving. I'm making you move now. I'm putting pressure on you to move before you want to. That's different.
Mm.
I think Robert Paris made a great point. What's up, Robert? Good to hear from you, brother. About he said, like me, love Mitch, but I want him fresh in the playoffs when he's a monster. Starting him makes it difficult to mitigate injuries, avoid injuries, and also it makes it difficult to take him out of a rhythm because if you have to bench him for whatever reason, he takes a while to get back in. I prefer managing his minutes on the bench. Maybe if he needs to nurse a little bit, he can play 5, 8, give Hot Porty more run. To me, starting Deuce allows more flexibility, both in that capacity, but also managing those four guards. All four of them need to play. If you start one of them, all three can play on the bench and not have their minutes reduced.
I don't even think it's about starting or I think Mitch just
Yeah.
gets hurt at weird times. Like even like the times I don't think he's played more than what like 24 minutes a game, maybe
27 is his max.
27 is his max.
Again, I'm gonna keep telling y'all all minutes, not the same minutes. But again, it's all about the matchups, the games. And again, if I think if we are good as I think we're going to be, a lot of those are going to be games where we should have big leads, where we could rest people.
Mm.
Like that's where I'm coming from. I'm feeling real like Golden State Warriors. Like the type of teams that they had during that with just complete teams. You got the vets, you have the shooters, you have the defenders, you have the playmakers. And now you have a coach who believes in the same system that they did. So it feels that way. It just feels like he's just gonna play around with stuff and I'm cool with that. I'm cool with figuring it out. So,
Yeah.
um,
I, I I
I'm
mean in
excited.
conclusion,
If you can't tell, Jay, I'm excited.
yeah, I feel you. I mean, probably to be in conclusion, I feel like most everybody is going with the Mitch to start. I don't blame him. I was actually a proponent of Mitch starting before. I am open to the McBride starting, even though historically I'm not for. Historically, I've been really against the small guard, the two small guard setup thing. I think I just been very comfortable with McBride guarding taller players last season in general. Like I know he's gotten beat a few times, and that's gonna happen when you play in the NBA. But I feel like more times than not, he's even guarded above his pay grade, which is
Hmm.
why I'm more comfortable with that notion this season. But again, I like Deuce there. I like Mitch there. I can pretty much go either way. Lee said this a few times. Mike Brown, he's kind of gone more with the spacing aspect of basketball more often than not, which kind of suggests that Mitch wouldn't start based on his history. But who knows? Maybe he'll look at Cat's defense and go, "Oh hell no," and put Mitch in there anyway. So we just gotta wait and see, because like let's not pretend like Cat's defense is must be he's not a rim protector. So we'll see what happens.
And Jay,
Exciting.
sorry, go ahead, Lee.
No, you go ahead, Ed. Please first.
I was just about to say, and one thing that people always talk about Mike Brown, is that he keeps his players accountable. He holds his players accountable. So we talk about the defense or lack of that some of our stars sometimes play. To see somebody maybe, or another thing, how we've questioned JB's playmaking. Some people have questioned JB's playmaking. I have been one of them at times. But I also cracked it up to him learning still, because he's young. First, having his own team, learning how to get his and others takes time. So I'm interested to see in that growth, because if we talk about similarities between Sacramento and our team, one, we're a better defensive team. That's where they fell short at. They were good all through offensive categories. They're one of the best offenses in the league when he won Coach of the Year. It was the defense that was terrible. But we have the defenders to match the offense. So I'm really excited. I'm excited to see what he does when he has access to both.
Yeah.
It's a great problem to have. That's all I was going to say. Like, I'm so happy that these are the problems that we're worried about going into a championship contending year. Is should we start dynamic Mitch or dynamic Deuce?
Right.
Two homegrown stars that we drafted in the second round and been cultivated and developed into potential starter material. I think Mitch played with the starters today. I think you'll probably see Josh Hart get a day where he's running with the starters, and you'll probably see Deuce get a day, maybe one other player, maybe he tries Clarkson or somebody as well with the starters, and then he'll make a decision based on the data, the analytics, which the Knicks are very into, as well as his own and coaching staff's eye test. But it's great. We can mix and match. I love the fact that Ebony said if Clarkson's playing like the worst J.R. Smith version, bench him. Great. Now we still have Bridges. We have Deuce. We have Brogdon. We have Shamet. Holy hell, man. We got a really stacked roster. The best roster I've ever seen in orange and blue.
It's funny. If it was like a few years ago, I'd be like, start Brogdon. If it was like a few years ago.
Because you love Brogdon, bro.
Huh? No, I mean,
you love Brogdon.
I do love Brogdon.
You
but
do.
it just makes Brogdon a few years ago with the starting lineup makes sense to me. Because Brogdon a few years ago was a two-way player who can play make and shoot threes. So it's like you need somebody next to Brunson who can take the pressure off playmaking and play defense and shoot threes. That's Brogdon. That's how I saw it a few years ago. What is he now? I don't know. We'll see. But if we getting 6 man a year Brogdon, then that's a whole different story. But I don't expect 6 man a year Brogdon, but we'll see what happens.
If we get a 6 man a year Brogdon along with 6 man a year Clarkson, it's a chip. That's a chip right there. That's a chip.
Yeah, facts. Go ahead, Ryan. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, yeah, you can just write that down. Like we get 6 man a year Clarkson, 6 man a year, 6 man a year Brogdon. Yeah, we win the chip. It's over. It's done.
Yeah,
it's done.
I agree.
I think I think we're gonna give the league problems for real.
Yep.
Because just the different ways you can come at a team. Like any way you want to play, we have personnel to match that. Well, we should have the personnel to match that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would keep saying it because I can't wait. Like I'm waiting for it all. This is some of the things. The reason I never wanted Thibs, because I felt he would hold our team back. That's always been a thing of mine, and I feel like OG and Mikael in movement and not stuck in the corners. That's gonna look different.
You know what's crazy, y'all, is that we haven't always talked about the guards and the bigs. We haven't even talked about Gerson Yabusele. Who's another big, strong wing that I think he's exactly what we wanted Precious Achiuwa to be.
Yeah.
Except he has a coordination, he has a shooting, and he has more of a force, more of a presence on the court. I mean, damn, he was the leader, was designated leader of the French national team during FIBA competition, and he balled out. That 3-point shot is real. The mechanics are there. They're consistent. I think that's going to translate well to the NBA with the Knicks in our system. To never have to worry about. Here's Precious coming. Here's Josh Hart in the fourth. Right? Oh man, you Siri got sacked last year. We saw those rotations with Durson Yabusele on the floor, and it's like, what a baby! I can't wait, man. I'm not worried, upset about OG sitting anymore. If Yabusele is not a great defender, I would say he's slightly above average, but he is a great team defender, and that's going to be a great component for us to have off the bench.
He competes.
Yep.
Yeah, he has some edge to him.
Yes.
Like he's not the player. He's I'm just gonna part of the group. You know what I mean? Like I think if Cat misses his assignment, Yabusele might be there.
Good.
Yeah, I always remember him for posterizing LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
That was my intro to him. And yeah, he competes. I love players like him. Just gonna go out there, a team player, give you what he can. Try not to hurt the team. Do what he can to help. And again, those are the players you want. And he's playing for his next contract because this new CBA is giving players like him the shaft pull. So like they have you see Quinn Grimes right now going through where he's going. Jonathan Kuminga going through where he's going. So
Right.
And we got it worked out for us, and we're probably gonna want him for more than one, for a long time after this season. I have a feeling of that.
I'm anticipating that. I'm
But-
anticipating the hurt when he leaves next season. I don't want to talk about it now, but I'm anticipating the hurt when he leaves next season.
He going all out this year because again, he's also playing to get a chip, and he's playing for his next contract.
Nah, for real. 3-point shooting, who's like a walking muscle too. Like that dude is huge.
Yeah,
he's like a football player.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
He's more like a football player.
He gives me like as far as strength, like he's giving Randall.
Yeah.
He's giving mow you down, knock you over, and I'm not sorry about it.
That's another thing that just got me hype. I'm sorry, Epiphany. The post presence he can bring. We were missing somebody that could really like sit down and get in that spot and stay in that spot. We got somebody to do that,
Especially at the 4, which OG, it's one of his weaknesses, is establishing position, whether it's on a steal or a post-up opportunity. He struggles with that against bigger 4s and smaller 5s. But I've seen the tape of Yabusele getting the rock and just using his bat and his lower waist to get position and pause and then finish around the rim. That's a whole nother dimension that Mike Brown can employ in the sets that are being ran while OG's on the bench, whether he's next to Mitch or next to Cat. It's plug and play, which damn, man. I'm getting hype even more than I was before the pod popped off.
Yeah,
that's why I've been saying it 8 times. Every time we talk about it, I'm excited. I'm sorry for it.
You lit, man.
No, but like everybody says, like Brunson's a foul merchant, draws a lot of fouls. But outside of like Brunson, not a lot of people are like drawing fouls. Like Mikael is like allergic to getting fouls. So like having someone who's willing to get in there and mix it up is something good.
Yep.
Seeing him and Cat together might be interesting. I know he's not the rim defender that Mitch is, but seeing him and Cat together might be interesting just to look at.
Yeah, I see Robert Parrish said he wants Mo to play.
Me too.
I would love for him to play, but I don't think we have any spots at this moment. He has to carve that out himself.
Yeah,
That'll take time through the season.
I do think, knock on wood, I don't want no injury, but I think that there's an injury in the front court, not the center position, but let's say a Yabu or a Bridges or an OG. I do think it's possible DOR to hit that shot before it home. I think DOR's defense is going to be something that Mike Brown's going to prioritize if the opportunity presents itself with any kind of injury that's in the front court position. I mean, I like Pacome, solid upside, but DOR was shockingly impressive in summer league.
The passing, the defense,
he kept his head up the whole time.
Yeah,
like he was like engaged. Like you see, like people with tunnel vision. Hey, I'm going to the rack, and that's it. Like even when he was going to the rack, he was looking fast. Like his eyes were always open, and I think that's someone you could just plug in. That's someone you can plug in.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think
Yeah,
Booker
I
will get
like
that
him.
first shot. I believe still, but I like the
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
like him. I like the OR.
Pacome is still the rookie I'm most high on. I'm
He's the
not
most
so.
talented.
I
Yeah.
haven't been so that's been so for me. It's been since summer league since we actually drafted. He was the one that I said I seen a little clip. I was like, hold on now, hold on, hold on. Hold on. Something. If he gets some strength and this can translate, he got the confidence to do it. Okay, we might have something here. Huck, I don't. I know people are very high. I'm not as high on Huck and Kolek as most. I
I'm
don't
not
think.
also.
I don't think they're ready just yet.
What about McCullough,
I
Eb?
think Huck could be. I feel like Huck could contribute
I'm
this year,
I'm
yo.
still not sold on Huck either. He got to show me a little bit more. But I think he has the tools. I just don't think he's there yet.
You
That
talking
could
about
come
Huck?
in the middle of the season. Who knows?
I think
Huck,
he can
yeah,
contribute this
You
year.
talking about
I think
Huck
he
or
can give
yeah,
us 10 to
Huck.
Kevin
15 points.
McCullough?
Huck. I
Well,
like
I,
Kevin Solo. I like Kevin. I like Kevin's game a lot. The hustle and heart. I like him a lot.
Me too.
yeah, I think just the center position is just interesting, like how they reserved the two-way spot for someone we really didn't think was going to get a two-way spot. Um, James Najee didn't get a two-way spot. Didn't get. He's not even in camp.
Who was that?
So, um, who got a two-way? 1 second.
McCullough died two-way.
Yeah.
McCullough and
Got to.
what's his name? Who played last year? Trying to think of who they.
Who got away from last year? Who was here last year and see this season?
No, he played on the Kings last year.
Oh,
Alex Lynn?
No, I'm sorry. Knicks.
Oh, it's at least what I'm seeing it's McCullough, Trey Jemison,
Trey Jemison got a two-way.
yeah, and Tosan Ebwam. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. I ain't gonna try, but he played for the Nets last year, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
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 But if
So
you remember last year, go ahead, Fritz.
I was just shocked that Trey Jemison got a two-way. Like, I don't think that was somebody like if he hit Westchester, I don't think anybody was going to pick him up. So like,
Mm.
why wouldn't you protect someone else? And you put Trey Jemison on a two-way contract.
I ain't gonna say nothing because of recent allegations. I'm gonna keep that to myself.
okay. Silent, silent,
I was
silent.
talking to Ian in the DMs about the two-way situation, and he reminded me that the Knicks last year signed and waived multiple times different sets of two-way guys where there was turnover at that position. They were trying to figure out how to manage a roster and also provide leeway and not lose guys that they were not on a contract where any G League team can take them. So I think we're going to see variations of that throughout the season if guys become available or if there's hot interest from other teams and Knicks don't want to let them go. I think we're going to see multiple guys waived, signed, waived. That should happen
It's a
so
way
many
to get him
times last
paid,
season.
right? It's a way to get him
Yeah,
paid, right?
yeah, and I think I don't think Najee will be a part of that. Definitely Dink though. I think could be a part of one of those opportunities. I hope so.
Yeah.
That's good.
Also, with the Knicks in their roster situation, they've been pulling off like a bunch of trades in the G League, trying to secure. So they're going to try to secure a lot of players in the G League draft in the first and second round.
Mm.
Good
Knicks,
tidbit.
they got one hand on the future for sure, man. They're
I
cycling through these young players. You even heard Diarra talk about he feels like they have a good plan, and that's one of the reasons why they get here. So they must be letting the young guys know what their long term plan is, to be not like the Warriors, like Ebony said, and have a next up. So keep an eye out on the Knicks and that plan. All right, all right. I feel like I talked about everything we need to talk about. We can close it out, man. We can close it out. Good show, good first show back. As more news comes out, we'll come out and talk Knicks basketball with you guys. And man, I can't wait till preseason. I cannot wait till preseason. Also, shout out to my guy Phil. Phil, I was trying to put out Phil's schedule because he posted the schedule for Knicks nightcap, and I tried to put it on the YouTube community page for Nick of Time, and it wouldn't let me post it. I don't know why, but he has his schedule already out. So October 16th is going to be the first episode for Knicks nightcap. So definitely check out Knicks nightcap on Nick of Time Show, youtube.com/Nick of Time Show. Also, if you like that show, hit that like and subscribe, man. We're gonna be here talking Knicks basketball and also here for preseason too. It's gonna be a big year. I feel like it's gonna be one of our biggest years yet for KOT. So I hope you enjoy this season, and man, I'm really excited about the championship, man. I've been really bullish on like how I feel at the beginning of the season. Like, I don't know about this season. I don't know about this season. Let me wait and see. This is the most confident I've ever come into a season in my entire Knicks fandom.
Let's go.
So I think we're going to have a great year. I expect us to be in the finals. I expect us to be competing for a chip. I'd be disappointed if it doesn't happen. The only way I might not be disappointed is some crazy injury happens. I would still be disappointed, but I'll be like, you know what I'm saying? You know, I'll still be disappointed. But like the only thing I can see us stopping us is some crazy injury. But if we healthy, I think we're in there. I think we're in there. All right, yo, that's the show. Thank you guys for watching. Lee, let them know they can find you, man.
At Twitter _Lee Escobedo, LEEESTOBEDO, and I'm a KOT Substack, which I have some fire coming out next week. Going to have another collaboration with Ebony for sure. Hopefully next week if she has a time. If not, the week after. Definitely will have another part of our ongoing series, which I hope to continue throughout the season, as well as other KOT contributors. Looking at you, Ryan G, Fritz Handles. Would love to have you on my KOT Substack. And I have some fire coming out for the Guardian and Bleacher Report in the next 2 weeks. Some of my strongest essays.
All right.
Yeah.
Fritz, Mr. NBA Economy. Let them know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, Fritz Handles on Twitter. Also NBA Economy Show. We're talking, all that calculated talk. No Nick is off limits on the NBA Economy Show. But yeah, it's gonna be a great year. Like I'm gonna bring some of that to the KLT show. But join me for more nerdy talk on NBA Economy
bring
Show.
your pitchforks and your calculators to the NBA Economy Show, all right?
I've had to tell
You let them know they can find you.
Fritz, slow it down. Say it slow for me. Say it one more time, Fritz. No, you can find me at Mad Nick Fan on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. I'll do better at my other socials. I'm sorry, y'all. I be struggling, but I'm gonna do better. Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. Think that's it. And you can find me on Twitter before every game. You'll take Knicks and no more Liberty season because they perform this. They didn't perform, and the Liberty took a page out of the Knick book and fired the coach. So Tibdello is gone. So they got rid of Thibs and then Tibdello. Now she gone too. So new beginnings for both of my teams. So yeah, that's my handles.
They're gonna hire Jackie Brown.
I don't know.
Bad
You
joke.
know,
All right.
a lot of the Liberty fans want Teaspoon.
Teaspoon.
But
Makes sense.
I just want them to do their due diligence.
She's
Go
not sold. That's what I
go.
heard.
Don't just hire for loyalty. Hire because they were the best for the job.
Exactly. You know what? I was gonna say something, but I don't want to get in trouble. All right, next.
What you about to say? What you about to say?
Not.
What you about to say? What you about to say? Nah, I'm just messing with you, Jay.
You can find me on Twitter at RyanGKOT. You can also find me on Instagram at Sir G is chillin'.
Sir G is chilling.
That's SIR. G is CHILLIN. I'm gonna definitely be more active this year on my social media handles because I had a year hiatus. I'm back, so I'm definitely gonna be a bit more active. And I definitely got something for y'all this upcoming season. So I'm definitely gonna be looking forward to that. And also, I don't have no bruh picks tonight, but I do want to big up one player because I'm going to be rooting for him this season because I think I seen him really make a change, and I just want to big up Zion Williamson because that dude is looking slim as hell. Going into training camp, it seemed like my man dropped the beignets and the po' boys and picked up broccoli and spinach. So I'm
Okay.
glad for Zion, and I'm looking forward for a good season from Zion. Let's go.
All right, put down the BBLs and picked up the protein shakes. Let's go.
Yo,
And, and Ryan, y'all know who he accredited his transformation to, too, right?
Who?
Teaspoon.
Oh,
Who?
Teaspoon.
wow.
Teaspoon. Because before that's why it was kind of crazy when they got fired when she left. Before she got hired to the WNBA, she was his favorite coach. He was raving about her, and that was when he was at one of his peaks when he was playing still like peak Zion. I think injuries had sidelined him again that year, but he was still on some beast mode. And he had said it was because Teaspoon then, and then they fired her, which was crazy.
That's
Right
crazy.
after that, not too long ago. I mean, not too long after he said that they fired her. So
You know what? You know
I
what,
guess
too? Shout
that's
out to Mikael Bridges too. I was watching his media day interview. And he talked about why he signed for cheaper than the maximum, and he's like he felt like he'd be a fraud if he just went for the money and didn't leave the team enough money to build. If he just went for the money, and he wants to win, and he talked about that. And he also talked about the fans. He talked about I like the coaching staff, I like the people, and he said I also like the fans. He said even though they went on him last season, he talked about how even though they were on him, he was kind of on himself. Like he wanted the same things that the fans wanted. So he said he himself was disappointed, and he didn't really take offense to the fans for the most part, because he said some of them was crazy, which I understand because some of us are crazy. but I just liked his demeanor, and how he accepted the criticism of the fans and the good and the bad that came in New York. So I got a little more respect for Mikael Bridges. So shout out to Mikael Bridges. All right.
Yeah.
All right, yo. That is the show. Thank you guys for watching. Shout out to people in the chat. Fritz Alessandro holding it down in the chat while on the panel. I appreciate you. Shout out to Knicks Yak. Shout out to Robert Parrish. Shout out to Knicks Nation 1112. Shout out to let's see. I seen Felicia was in the chat earlier. Who else is there? State of New York Knicks podcast is in the chat. Styles Nick was in the chat. Ron is in the chat. DJ Cash is in the chat.
John Baines
in the chat. The Predicate in the chat. John Baines in the chat. Shout out to everybody who's in the chat. Josh F. Uncle Fulio's in the chat. Okay. Oh, Uncle Fulio's. Damn, Uncle Fulio.
Uh-oh.
Uncle Fulio's back. Hold on. Damn. Kev, shout out to everybody who's rocking in the KOT show. Also shout out to Phil and B. B, we're waiting for you to have the trade Deuce or Mitch discussions. All right, we're waiting for you. All right, all right, B. all right, yo. That's the show. Thank you guys for watching, and as always,
shout out the Worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here in these Knicks streets. That's the show. We out of here.
Peace.
New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.